Fighting depraved cannibals ruled by evil sorcerers was something all their neighbors had an interest in. The Kök Khan of Mongolia was not the least of those. Prince Dzambul, son of Kakhan Kutugtu of the clan of the Borjigin, which made him a descendant of the great Temujin, not that half the world couldn't say that, reflected that being a prince wasn't all that some people thought it was, particularly when your uncle disliked you and commanded the army in which you were serving. And, some said, or privately thought, he would be a better successor to the Kakhan than you would. The position was elective within the line of royal descent. For example, if you're a prince in those boots, you may get sent on a long-range scouting mission that may end up behind enemy lines, he thought. It was snowing a little, hard granular flecks out of a low gray sky that made him blink when he turned his head northward and caught in his thin young man's mustache and beard, and made him glad he'd greased his face this morning. The ground was still mostly covered in dirty white and frozen hard, though it was early in the season for it, and he thought he smelled a change in the weather under the dry, mealy scent of the snow. His horse snorted with resignation and turned a little under him, to get its nostrils out of the direction the snow was coming from. He watched the top of the barren hill for the scout signal, one booted foot cocked over the leather-sheathed arched wood of his saddle's pommel. He'd been up long enough that the stiffness of sleeping on cold ground wrapped in a cloak had worn off, and he'd beaten all the bits of ice out of his wolf fur-lined coat before he put on his mail and ate a bowl of hot rice gruel. But it was still early morning. Behind him there was a wheep, wheep of someone sharpening something, and the restless, hollow clatter of unshod horse hooves as stationary mounts shifted their weight, the creak of harness, the snap of a pennant on a lance, someone making a low-voiced invocation to Sulla Tengri, who was a war god, but also the ancestor, Genghis, and who dwelt in the Tug war banner.